The Black Sea spans approximately 436,000 square kilometers and is bordered by 6 countries: Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, Russia, Georgia, and Turkey. Its strategic location at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and the Middle East through the Bosporus and the Dardanelles Straits, and also the large rivers Danube and Dnipro, has made it a crucial maritime gateway in an economical, political, and military sense for the past hundreds of years. This strategic waterway facilitates the transport of essential goods like various types of grains and steel. Because of this, what happens in the Black Sea essentially affects the whole world. In 2019 alone, according to Statista, 464 million metric tons of cargo passed through the more than 60 Black Sea ports. A large part of this cargo came from or went to Ukraine. According to the European Trade Commission, before the start of the full-scale invasion in 2022, Ukraine accounted for 10% of the world's wheat market, 15% of the corn market, and 13% of the barley market. With between 40 and 50% of world trade, it was also the main player in the sunflower oil market. Welcome to Talking Tactics. This week, we want to first outline why and how the Black Sea is so important not only for Kyiv but for the entire world, but also how Ukraine has managed to somehow level the playing field in the battle for the Black Sea by developing the world's first naval drone fleet that we want to introduce to you. But first, the most important question: why does Russia want to control the Black Sea? Now, the financial aspect, as well as its strategic and imperialist aspirations, are the 3 underlying factors driving Russia to gain absolute, or at least substantial, control of assets and trade routes in the Black Sea. If it isn't something obvious, like stealing the almost 6 million tons of Ukrainian grain harvested last year in the occupied territories, that's according to the US Congress report from last June, it's about being able to exert control and bargain, not only with Ukraine, but essentially with anyone. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 not only nearly decimated the Ukrainian navy, but also allowed Russia to bolster its military presence in the region, altering the balance of power significantly. Now, when Russia launched its invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, the Black Sea once again became a battlefield. Ukraine had to mine parts of its coastline to block Russian landing parties. You might remember the battle for Snake Island, where the phrase "Russian warship, go fuck yourself" became an iconic symbol of Ukrainian resistance. Snake Island was liberated in last year, giving Ukraine back a strategic foothold in the Black Sea, but Russia used and still uses the Black Sea to launch cruise missiles targeting Ukrainian cities, to block ships and trade, and just generally doing what Russia does best, being a huge nuisance to everyone. In July 2022, the Initiative on the Safe Transportation of Grain and Foodstuffs from Ukrainian Ports, also called the Black Sea Grain Initiative, was signed. It was kind of a compromise reached through Turkish mediation. The agreement regulated grain exports from both countries, Ukraine and Russia, and played a vital role in stabilizing global food markets. Russia unilaterally pulled out of the agreement in July 2023, blaming Ukraine for attacking its ships and harbors, but more on that in a second. The cancellation of the agreement sent shockwaves through international grain markets, causing uncertainty and disruption. Russia is at the root of this problem, but because things like wheat and corn are traded as future commodities on, for example, the Chicago Board of Trade, it means that when Russia disrupts the global wheat trade, private investors or traders on the free market then basically speculate on the future of the wheat price and essentially profit off this global food insecurity and atrocity, causing prices to jump even further. Despite the threats posed by Russia, Ukraine has been trying to maintain a somewhat secure sea corridor for international shipping, guiding vessels from and to ports like Reni and Izmail in the southwestern tip of Ukraine to Romanian and Bulgarian waters, which are 2 NATO states. The so-called Danube River Delta, which is accessible to larger ships through the 63-kilometer-long Salina Channel, right now constitutes a vital lifeline, crucial for ensuring the safety of commercial shipping and maintaining access to the Black Sea's trade routes for Ukraine and its international partners. Although both ports were already targeted by Russia, President Zelensky commented, even without the Russian Federation, everything must be done so that we can use this Black Sea corridor. We are not afraid. We have been approached by companies that own ships. They said that they are ready. But despite all the bravery and vigor, it will be an extreme challenge to find a long-term sustainable solution, as insurance companies, for example, have already tripled their rates for ships passing through this region. It is a considerable risk. The prime example is the almost pirate-like boarding of a Palau-flagged dry ship in the Black Sea by Russian special forces in mid-August. What can be done to win the battle for the Black Sea and secure a safe passage for ships bringing food to the world market from Ukraine? Ukraine has been fighting back since the beginning, like using the homemade missile Neptune to sink the Russian cruiser Moskva in August 2022. Also from the air, with drones like the Turkish Bayraktar. Ukraine has managed to significantly disrupt Russian operations on the coast as you can see in this video where a drone decimates a Russian landing party. But nothing has transformed the dynamics of the battle for the Black Sea more than Ukraine's development and deployment of naval drones. In lightning speed, the country has built up its own naval drone fleet. Although the concept and idea are not new, and Ukraine is not the first country to develop such a drone, it is the first to use them in an actual combat situation. On October 29, 2022, the first naval attack in history was carried out exclusively by unmanned means. Naval drones attacked the Russian fleet in Sevastopol. According to the website of President Zelensky, they hit 3 ships of the Russian Federation, in particular the flagship Admiral Makarov. The track record of these drones so far is incredibly impressive. So impressive, in fact, that a country with a formidable navy such as Russia has had to seriously reconsider its maritime strategy. According to the state news agency Ukrinform, there are currently no Russian cruise missile carriers in the Black Sea. Be aware, though, that this is a situational fact and that the positioning of ships has bound to change at any given moment. The attack on the Kerch Bridge in July and the attack on the Elenigorsky Garnyak beginning of August near the port of Novorossiysk, which is roughly 675 kilometers from the closest Ukrainian-held shores, as well as the attack on the tanker Sig, are 3 further examples. Although, according to the chief of military intelligence in Ukraine, Kirill Bodanov, around 60 to 70% of these drones are actually neutralized by Russia before they hit their target, the success rate of 30% has been effective enough for Ukraine to broadly expand this sector of their navy. On August 24th, President Zelensky announced the creation of the 385th Separate Brigade of Maritime Unmanned Special Purpose Systems. The fleet consists of an unknown number, for obvious security reasons, of unmanned surface vehicles, USVs, and unmanned underwater vehicles, or UUVs. The first-generation maritime drone used on the attack on October 29, 2022, was basically a mix between a canoe and a jet ski. In fact, the body was originally a jet ski that Ukrainian engineers remodeled. This idea has been developed further, with weaponized and automated jet skis spotted close to Russian waters. Next is the Magura, supposedly used in the attack on the Elenigorsky Garnyak late August. Basically a bigger and more powerful version of the first generation, with a maximum speed of around 42 knots, a range of around 830 kilometers, and a payload capacity of 320 kilograms. Next is the Sea Baby, which is basically the XXL version of the Magura, with a stunning payload capacity of around 860 kilograms. As opposed to USVs, UUVs that move underwater are harder to detect. Also, as you can imagine, if you cause damage to a ship, apart from destroying the rudder, the most damage you can do is to the hull, so the part that is underwater. Ukraine has presented the Toloka TK-150, which has an electric motor, and also the Marichka, a black, tubed unmanned underwater submarine. So, what can Russia do to protect itself from this new threat? Well, different media are suggesting that Russia is sinking old ships and spanning fisher nets in an attempt to create an underwater wall, protecting the Kerch Bridge and Strait. Apart from that, they're probably working hard on new ways to defend themselves, but until they come up with something really useful, it looks like Ukraine will manage to reassert its maritime presence even further. However, even if naval drones have given Kyiv a better playing hand, the continuing brutal invasion of Ukraine causes the region's future to remain uncertain, with global consequences at stake. Thanks for watching Talking Tactics, hit like and subscribe, and see you next week.